What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Stocks to Watch. And okay, so we have a very solid setup for stocks to start moving higher. So I did give you a list of stocks, and we took a trade in I think three or four of them, and every single thing went really well. So we had a fantastic week. Now I will break down those trades which I have taken from the watch list I had shared. And without further delay, let's quickly start with the stocks that can explode in the entire next week and maybe on Tuesday morning. So the first stock is Man Industries. So now again, the stock is coming back to a demand over here, as you can see, forming a strong base, volume dry up, my favorite setup. So I think Man Industry is something that I'll definitely keep a radar on, keep my watch list on Man. Now the other thing is big block construction. So again, similar setup, trying to react from an area of demand, liquidating these lows, and then starting to do a base build up with a very good volume dry up kind of a setup. So again, I'll be looking at this. Now this is an interesting one, which is hardware in India, and again setting up in the same way, very nice tight base, lots of room to move higher. So I think this is also going to be on my radar. Torrent Power, I think, is one of the best from the lot because what it has done, this stock has outperformed every single stock, I think, probably in the large cap space, trading at all time highs, volume dry up, setting up really well. Energy and power sector is anyway very hot. So I think Torrent Power has to be on your watch list. Next up is SCPL, Sheetal Cool Products Limited. Now again, not exactly the best setup, I would say. Probably it needs another day of consolidation, and then maybe we can find something. Now, Industries. Now, Indo Mines Industries. Now, again, doing nice little, bottom fishing kind of a consolidation at like almost, December 2023 lows. And the interesting part about that stock is that this is a specialty chemical name, and we know what China is up to. So I think, as I said to you in the previous episode, that metals and chemicals both are very dependent on what China does. And we have started to see some positive tailwinds from the Chinese economy. So I would not be surprised to see chemicals, specialty chemicals in general, as the sector to explode for the end of the remaining part of March and the starting of April. So keep this on your watch list as well. Now this is the if I talk about Himmat Singh Ka Sede. So now this stock is again doing similar thing, forming a nice little base. If it comes out of this range, I think this could start exploding. And majority of these are small cap, mid cap names which have already kind of corrected. Now next up is Hindustan Media, which is Hindustan Media Ventures. Now, again, similar structure, forming a base would keep this on radar. Gland is again one of the pharma names, forming a nice little base. We've seen Sun Pharma and I think Zydus Life as the two pharma stocks that have outperformed the markets. I think this base is going to be sufficient enough for Gland to start spiking. Now, RVNL again forming a very tight little range. Something similar is I've witnessed in IRFC as well. Keep this on radar. Yes Bank, not my favorite, but again from the banking pack, I think again it's starting to make like a nice base after reacting from its original lows, original areas of demand. So I think if it has to move higher, I think that's the place it will start spiking from. Ratan India Enterprise is another big mover, created a faulty base over here, as you can see, and now liquidated all of these lows that we can probably see over here. So I think this is also pretty much set. So I think I'll keep a watch on Ratan India's. Now Pidilite, another specialty chemical name, and Pidilite is the king of adhesives. And I think I told you this in the previous video, also previous episode, that Pidilite is setting up really well. And now what it is doing right now, trading near its highs, trying to almost break its previous all-time high, doing nice little things, breaking out, creating a range, volume dry up. I think it is a perfect setup for you to take like a swing trade in Pidilite, maybe in intraday trade as well. So I think Pidilite is setting up really well. Motherson Sumi again, this is more of like a base created at near the lows and near the demand areas, so should keep this on track. Hindalco I had already told you about China metals, the entire thing that's happening, and now this is ready to kind of fill the gap. So I think Hindalco is pretty much ready. We discussed it previously also. NHPC, same thing. Pulled back, very nicely from the highs. So if you see, the stock corrected about 35%. Good healthy correction from the highest. Trying to consolidate would be something on my radar. Cummins India, we did a trade in this one, and now it is again touching a fresh all-time high. So wouldn't really recommend a swing on this, but I think from an intraday perspective, this could be really interesting. Same as the case with East India Hotels, trying to form a narrow range contraction. The volumes have dried up, so I think this is also ready to move. So keep this on radar. KEI Industries, a difficult one, but if it starts spiking from here, I think this could be doing really well because it's a large base. Then I would ignore Shree Cement right now. Again, it's like a pretty below average setup, because there is a supply on the left side. So, let's ignore that. But Indigo is again something which is setting up, volume drying up, and it is probably ready for a good breakout. Now, there is a very, very, it's a thing that I've observed. A lot of media stocks are at demand, and with elections coming up, I think media stocks could have a catalyst because usually what happens is when elections are coming in, there is more advertising, there are more campaigns running in political parties, and maybe there are a few other advertisers who try to advertise. Even the government starts advertising about the election, and the election commission is trying to put up some awareness campaign. So there's always cyclicality or seasonality in media stocks, especially with the advertising revenue. So I think HT Media is something really interesting to watch. Now another PSU name which is Dredging Corp, again coming back to demand, forming a base. I think absolutely beautiful. Should do really well. Birla Cables again doing the same thing, coming back to its original areas of demand, and then now trying to form a base with a volume dry up. Looks really great. Z Media not ready to explode again. One from the media pack. It's coming back to the same base, same demand, which kind of gave it a spike. And I think it's 1 or 2 days of action away from trying to kind of explode. Similar case with KCP, below average. I mean, it's okay. Aurum PropTech is something where I am expecting maybe tomorrow or maybe day after, we could see a candle like this in Aurum PropTech, maybe a 10-15% circuit. Again, not an advice, but just keep this on track because the volumes are absolutely dead. So that means that there isn't a lot of selling that is happening from the top, and this is probably the place at which the price is coming back to, and it has formed like a pretty nice base previously. So I think it's pretty good. Now, SKM Egg Products, at one point, this is a pretty overhyped stock because in 2023, this stock ran up about 165% in a matter of about 2 months, came back all the way from where it started. So whoever is basically a buyer here, it's basically coming back to the same price. And although it hit an upper circuit on Friday, this stock is again setting up. So I think it's on my watch list. Now, Network 18 again from the media pack, as I said, there's a lot of election activity, could be a revenue booster. Catalysts would start coming in. Maybe some re-rating starts happening here. So keep this on watch list as well. South Indian Bank is something again, something that I like from the banking space. We traded RBL in the past. RBL did really well, had a good closing on Friday. I think South Indian Bank, they also had a rights issue, which was pretty successful. So I think this could be interesting. Now, mind you, South Indian Bank has a restriction on credit card issuance due to some legal battle that they're facing, some issue. I'm not really sure what it was, but there was a ban on I think Fed Bank and South Indian Bank. So just keep that on track. DBL is I think ready to explode. Now this is coming back to demand. Dilip Buildcon, a lot of PMS managers have been buying Dilip Buildcon, so probably the right time to buy Dilip Buildcon. Same as the case with GR Infra. I think I told you previously also. It's setting up really nicely. Election infra stock, same theme, pretty logical. So let's see if it gives an opportunity. MCX, disclaimer, we are already in a position in MCX. I had informed in my previous video also. MCX was up about 2%, and I think it can easily touch these highs at around 3,500. Let's see how it works. Uh, Next up, we've got a very good setup in Jindal Saw, again coming back near these areas of demand, sweeping these lows. Everything is pretty perfect, and I think this could also start spiking. Next up is Rain Industries. I told you about this also, that this is the perfect time to take a positional play in Rain Industries, Monish Barbai's favorite stock. And this has been there are a lot of tailwinds for this stock. Had a big explosion, as you can see on the left side of your screen in the starting of 2024, had a big explosion. The price is again coming back to the same area where it started from. So I think that it could be really interesting to see how this forms. Now, again, an election, theme, which is obviously fertilizers, and we have seen usually around elections, we've seen the market anticipate that a lot of fertilizer subsidy cuts would come in. I mean, fertilizer subsidies would increase. There could be price cuts, which could be good for fertilizer names. Now, again, fertilizers is also an industry which is dependent on China. There is a consumption of fertilizers in China, and hence there could be some action. Now, natural gas prices are at very low levels. That means raw material cost is definitely reduced, right? So now, if we see there is an uptick in any kind of a catalyst in fertilizer space, I think RCF, GNFC, maybe Paradeep Phosphates, maybe Rama Phosphates. You have other, fertilizer space, GSFC, Deepak Fertilizer. So just keep all of those names on your track list. JK Tire, now tire stocks were in pressure. If you talk about JK Tire, Apollo Tire, Seat is also at a demand area, similar setup like JK Tires. The reason for that was crude was spiking higher, rubber prices increased, margin pressure, and that is why a lot of brokerages downgraded tire stocks. But I think they're coming at a value area. Keep it on track. If you find your setup, definitely go ahead and execute that. NIIT MTS. Now, I already spoke about this stock probably in the last episode, and from there it has started spiking. And I think there's a lot of room for this to move. This is just a recent IPO stock, moving out of its first base, coming back and testing this area. So I think this could be interesting one. Now, again, this is a small cap name, so be careful of that. Now, IREDA, we discussed that also, coming back over here, creating a base, a similar setup that we've been tracking in all these watchlist stocks, and now it is starting to move up. Now, this is a circuit stock. The circuit is already up. Be careful when you're kind of getting into this. If you are already a buyer holding IREDA, you don't have anything to worry about. Solar Industries, sorry, Trident, my bad. So Solar Industries is another one which is probably the one of the best outperformers. Created a base, broke out of that base, created a mini base, and again trying to move higher. So I think on an intraday opportunity or like a BTST play could definitely exist in Solar Industries. Now, next up, we've got Trident, and this is also another name that I spoke about previously. That Trident is a good time to buy, and the stock was already up 4.5% on Friday. And I think this is a very good buy for Trident. I think this is my one of my favorite plays. Policy Bazaar, disclaimer: we are already in a position in Policy Bazaar, and this is ready to spike. So I think this is also pretty much ready. And Zydus Life, another very strong name. Just look at what the stock has done, and now a narrow tight range or base is it can start spiking out of this range. So these are the list of stocks that I'm going to be watching. There are a lot of stocks because all of these stocks from the entire universe of about 1900 stocks, this is what I could find. And again, this is a disclaimer. I am a SEBI registered research analyst with license number INS 000013925. And this is not a financial advice. I've already give you a disclaimer about the positions that I'm already holding. Keep a track on all of these stocks. I think they have a spectacular opportunity to explore. There's a lot of potential for money to be made. And if you like this content to support, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit on the like, comment what you liked about this video so that we are motivated to put more such videos for you. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much.